A man and his dog never expected this when a wolf approached them outside his home. Even though they're often presented as large and scary creatures, wolves look a lot sweeter when you get a chance to meet them in person. They actually look more like large but friendly dogs. However, despite how cute they might appear, wolves are still wild animals, which means you have to be careful around them. The story you're about to listen to might change the way you think about wolves forever. Back in 2004, an Alaskan wildlife photographer named Nick Jans took his dog out for an ordinary walk in the snow. He didn't expect that he would come across a huge wolf in front of his home. Naturally, Nick was worried about his dog's safety, but what happened next left him in shock. As a wildlife enthusiast, Nick loved spending time outdoors with his dog Dakota. He would usually sit on the porch and let Dakota run around or sit beside him. Suddenly, a wolf appeared out of nowhere and stood right in front of Nick and Dakota. Nick sat there surprised, and before he could even do anything, Dakota quickly ran toward the wild animal. Perhaps Dakota thought that the wolf was nothing but another dog. Little did she know that the wild animal wasn't ready to play. Maybe Dakota sensed the danger and decided to step up and protect her home. Naturally, Nick was terrified when he saw his dog run towards a wild wolf. At this point, he wasn't sure whether or not he should approach. After all, the wild wolf could hurt both him and the dog. But he couldn't just sit there and watch his dog get hurt. Then, something unexpected happened. While Nick expected a very bad outcome of this situation, he couldn't believe when he saw what happened next. The dog and the wolf started playing like they were closest of friends. When he realized that the dog was safe, Nick grabbed his camera and took this photo. The wolf kept showing up at their home to play with Dakota. Since the wild animal liked spending time there, Nick decided that he needed to give it a name. It seemed like Romeo was the perfect name for this charming wild animal. Even though Romeo seemed so friendly, Nick had to remind himself at times that he was in fact dealing with a wild animal. He made sure to keep an eye out for Dakota every time she went outside to play with Romeo. Besides, just because Romeo and Dakota got along so well, it didn't mean that other dogs in the neighborhood would like having a wolf around. After playing with Dakota for a few days, Romeo decided to explore the area and see what other dogs were up to. He found his way to the Mendenhall Glacier Park, where the neighborhood dogs would often hang out. Shortly after, you could see Romeo running around and playing with all the local dogs. After meeting Dakota, Romeo started hanging out with other canine friends. He quickly became a part of the neighborhood, and everyone got used to him. Even though he loved wrestling with the dogs, Romeo was very gentle and careful not to hurt them. Naturally, people were frightened when Romeo first appeared at the local park. When you see a large wolf in front of you, you can't help but think about all the bad things that could happen. However, the neighbors quickly saw that Romeo had nothing but good intentions. Even though the wolf was much larger than the dogs at the Mendenhall Glacier Park, people didn't see him as a safety concern. After all, Romeo was very gentle and friendly with both humans and his canine friends. All their worries quickly went away when they saw Romeo playing with the dogs. When it comes to the dogs at the park and their reactions to seeing a wolf, some of them were evidently upset by the large wild animal. There's no doubt that Romeo looks quite scary when you see him for the first time. However, it didn't take long for the local dogs to get used to his presence at the park. It seemed like Romeo only wanted some company. He liked to socialize and spend time with other animals, which is why he kept returning to the park to play with the dogs. It's natural for a wolf separated from a pack to go around looking for a new one. After a few days, everyone saw Romeo as nothing but a friendly animal. He looked like a big dog who loved to play with other animals. He even behaved like a dog at times. Nick once said that he would bring out toys that he'd stashed and bring them to the people at the park. It seemed like Romeo was influenced by the dogs so much that he started behaving like one. The Alaskan residents quickly accepted him as one of their own. At this point, it was clear that Romeo was no threat to dogs or people in the area. During an interview about this unusual situation, Nick mentioned that Romeo liked bringing toys and other items to people at the park. He said, "One was a styrofoam float. Romeo would pick it up